22nd, 2023. Welcome to CBS Saturday Morning. Abortion pill access. The U.S. Supreme Court takes action to preserve legal access to mifepristone across most of the country. We'll have reaction and look at the future legal challenges ahead.
Over the line, the National Football League suspends 5 players for violating the league's gambling policy. Details on who's being taken off the field and the surprising place where they may have placed their bets.
And dimming the sun. This Earth Day, we will look at the controversial proposal to release aerosols into the atmosphere to lower the temperature of the Earth. But just how crazy is the idea? We'll talk to the experts.
But first, we begin this morning with a look at today's eye-opener. Your world in 90 seconds.
When Roe v. Wade was overturned, that was just a starting line.
The Supreme Court rules the most commonly used abortion pill should remain widely available.
The president has been very clear. This administration has been very clear. We are going to continue to fight for women's reproductive rights.
The Gold Star Bridge, oh my God!
One person is dead after a fuel tanker rolled over in Connecticut.
Billowing smoke, incredible flames pouring right down through the pipes, spilling out into the Thames River.
President Joe Biden signed an executive order that looks to advance environmental justice.
That means every federal agency must take into account environmental and health impacts on communities.
The violent chaos in Sudan has claimed the life of at least one American.
No decision to evacuate anybody now has been made. It's just really about pre-positioning military forces.
The NFL suspends 5 players for violating the league's gambling policy. 3 of them are out the entire 2023 season.
Body cam shows a wild bobcat being rescued from inside the grill of a car.
Oh, big one, too.
White's got 5 fouls, got to be careful. Young into the lane. Floater is good. Trey Young with the basket, pushing the lead to 5 again. The Atlanta Hawks are back in the series.
Crowd is going wild. We can barely hear ourselves speak. Everybody's standing here at Madison Square Garden.
Knicks fans are rocking the Garden tonight after dominating Game 3.
Rose, alley-oop, top of the finish.
We know few places in sports rock like the Garden in the playoffs.
Think the fans are into it, Clyde?
They are, Kennedy. They've been waiting, what, a couple of years. 80
when it comes close to
the game.
I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, Knicks!
This morning's eye-opener is presented by Progressive, making it easy to bundle insurance.
Love it. Playoff basketball. We got playoff hockey going on. Beginning of the baseball season.
Yeah, a lot of happy people.
Yeah.
Especially you, Jeff.
Darn right. Welcome to the weekend, everyone. And it's the weekend. I'm Jeff Glor, along with Michelle Miller and Nancy Chen, who is filling in for Dana, who's getting some much-deserved time off. It is Earth Day, so this morning we have a few stories for you about the state of our climate, including a journey to Panama. That is where we're about to see one of the first mass relocations of people due to climate change. The more than 1,000 people on these group of islands will have to leave due to sea level rise. They will end up here. As you can see, quite a different place. We're going to talk with those affected and see why they say the move is so urgent.
Then it's one of the toughest cities to police and one of the toughest urban environments for cars. But the NYPD is trying to convert its massive fleet of patrol cars to all electric. We'll look at the challenges and how it could benefit the city in 2 very big ways.
Then we'll explore Boston from Venice Beach with author Dennis Lehane. He may live in California now, but he's responsible for some of the best books about Boston, many of which were made into films like Mystic River and Shutter Island. We're going to speak with him about his latest book, which details one of Boston's toughest chapters, and we'll hear why this might be his last novel.
Then it is off on a culinary adventure that stretches from Japan to Italy and has now landed stateside, known as Wafu Italian. It's a melding of Italian and Japanese cuisines. The results are phenomenal. We'll speak with the chefs helping expose it to more Americans. That's in the dish.
And we'll go into the studio with a rising artist with a sound built from tragedy and triumph. Abraham Alexander's debut record has guest appearances from Mavis Staples and Gary Clark Jr. But its creation was shaped by another artist who helped him get his first break. We'll talk with him about that and a whole lot more. Plus, you'll get a performance right here in our Saturday session. That and so much more is all ahead. But we begin this morning with a quick check of your headlines. The U.S. Supreme Court issued a highly anticipated order to preserve legal access across most of the country to the widely used abortion pill mifepristone. Justice Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas were the only two publicly dissenting votes. The decision from the conservative majority court is a temporary victory for the Biden administration and leaves in place the FDA's 23-year-old approval of the drug while a lower court challenge plays out.
In his dissent, Justice Alito wrote there were legitimate doubts the Biden administration would obey an unfavorable order. Democratic lawmakers are applauding the decision, but the ruling has drawn a muted response from top Republicans. Willie James Inman reports from Washington. Willie, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Access to the abortion pill mifepristone will remain in place, at least for now, following a series of legal orders and a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court.
In a Friday ruling, the Supreme Court allowed continued access to mifepristone without restrictions. The decision puts lower court orders on pause while a legal battle plays out. Earlier this month, Trump-appointed federal judge Matthew Kacsmaryk issued an order blocking the FDA's approval of the drug. An appeals court later struck down the full ban but put up limits on access. The Biden administration and the manufacturer of mifepristone launched an emergency appeal to the high court.
We are prepared also for a long legal battle. That is our commitment and our promise to the millions of women across the country.
The White House has embraced the legal fight for abortion access. Following the ruling, President Biden released a statement saying that he stands by the FDA's, quote, independent expert authority to review, approve, and regulate a wide range of prescription drugs. The decision was the most significant case on abortion brought before the court's conservative majority, which struck down Roe v. Wade last June. More than 5 million women have used the pill since it was approved in 2000. The uncertainty around mifepristone has caused some doctors to stockpile the medication.
Well, really, judges should not be making medical decisions for individuals or decisions about the safety of a medication. They don't have the background for it.
A lawyer representing the group that filed the initial challenge to the FDA's approval of mifepristone said the fight is not over.
Regardless of how the Supreme Court rules, they're not necessarily ruling on the merits, and we're going to go right back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is set to hear arguments in this case next month, and there's the possibility that it could make its way back to the justices at the Supreme Court, who could then rule on the merits of the case. Jeff?
Willie James Inman, thank you very much. Time now to show you some other stories making news this morning. And breaking overnight, Sudan's top general has agreed to facilitate the evacuation of U.S. diplomats and other